Welcome everybody to Who's Your Band? I am Jeffrey Paul, joined by my co-host, Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
I am wonderful, Jeffrey. How are you doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon?
Doing good. Busy weekend. Saw Billy Joel on Friday night.
Do you
Great
play
seats.
that? Do you play that dumb new song?
It's not a dumb, it's a great new song. And it's the only
Oh,
song I've never seen him do.
suck.
And I got to give a shout out to my pal Jerry Fox, who is the tour manager. And we worked together for 19 years together when we were doing the Stones, and we worked together with Bruce and ended in Journey with 2002. So that's my guy. Great guy. It was great seeing him. The seats were amazing, and his band is second to only this band who we're going to talk about today. Okay. Because our guest we have, he is a singer, he is a guitar player, he's a songwriter. Okay. And he's in one of my all-time favorite bands, the Smithereens. We welcome to the show, Mr. Jim Babjak. How are you, Jim?
Hi, good, good. You caught me at a good time.
How you feeling?
Um,
You're
Better.
back.
I'm gonna start physical therapy next week because it's been 2 weeks now, and I got a lot of work ahead of me for the next couple of months, I guess.
Now, what happened? Was it a disc? What happened to you?
Yeah, my L4, L5. I messed it up like 20 years ago, and I did the epidurals, but I still jumped off the stage at every show into the audience like an idiot. So it's taken its toll. So now I had to have part of the disc removed that was pinching the nerve, and it feels better, but now I have to do the therapy. So
Did
otherwise,
they
I'm feeling okay.
did they put in the rods in your back?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, I won't go off in the airport metal detector.
All right, well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Let's get into this a little bit because I've been wanting to get you on this show for the longest time. I'm a huge fan of the Smithereens. I love you guys. Um, and there's always stories, but stuff, I want to hear from a guy who's in the band. How did you guys actually get together?
Well, it started back in 1971 on the first day of high school, and it was the first class, 8 a.m. in the morning, and it was Earth Science. I remember that. And the kid sitting behind me, he noticed that my notebook had a picture of the Who cut out from a magazine in it, and so he approached me after the class and said, "Hey, by the way, you play guitar?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "I play drums. Do you
What
know
grade were you in? What grade are you in?
freshman in high school?"
You're a freshman in high school, so you're in the ninth grade, and you're playing guitar at this point.
Yeah, yeah, for about 2, 3 years, but rudimentary stuff. I had a teacher for a while, but it was like Mary had a little lamb kind of stuff. So I quit that, and then I bought some books and learned how to play chords all wrong, which I still do. But anyway, we got together right away, and we started playing in my parents' laundry room and the garage and stuff, and then. Mike, he saw how much fun we were having. We did some gigs together, kind of like just the guitar and drums. With it was like the White Stripes in a way. There was nothing else. So Mike saw our bass player was
Right.
also in our class, and he saw how much fun we were having with it, and he liked the same kind of music as we did. So he decided to pick up the bass. Now he went off to college for one semester, and when he came back, he was playing like a pro. I mean, he was listening to the Ramones and the Beatles and the Who. So he picked up on Motown, James Jamerson, John Entwistle, Dee Dee Ramone, well, McCartney, all rolled up into one, and he sounded great. So we thought, okay, we'll start playing around. We had this other lead singer that we had a few, but didn't all work out. And then Dennis put an ad in the paper looking for a singer, and we found Pat.
And that
And
was the
this was
aquarium, right? The old
yeah, the
aquarium.
Aquarian, late in 1979, and then by March of 1980, we were together and playing.
Do you just let me
That's
ask something? Do you just know? Like the first time Pat opens his mouth and sings with you guys, do you just know it, or is it something that you have to work towards and say, well, let's see how this goes for a couple of weeks, or is it just like you can't put a word on it, you just like, hey, this is the guy.
It's hard to say with all the time that's passed, but I had a feeling, and I hate saying that because, oh yeah, you say, by hindsight or whatever, but my dad owned a tavern, a very successful tavern, and I was supposed to like kind of take over the family business, and I was already working there every day, 7 days a week, and kind of managing the place, and I kind of gave that up to stay in this band. I lied to my parents. I told them I was going to finish college, and I actually talked them into moving to Arizona because I went there with a friend. It's a long story, and I'm like, oh my God. So my dad sold the bar and everything, moved to Arizona. He was expecting me to move with him, and I stayed behind. And I lied. I said I want to finish school and blah blah blah, which I had no intention of doing. I dropped out, and then um, Pat's voice, I just thought there was something interesting about it, and I liked his songwriting, and I liked where he was coming from. So I just had a feeling, but I gotta say, I mean, after 5 years, I was starting to doubt my what I've done. I was actually thinking about moving back to Arizona at that time. So and then we got the record deal, and then all of a sudden we were overnight successes after 5, 6 years, and then we got signed to a premier booking agent, which was the biggest at the time. They had Tom Petty, Springsteen, The Who, the Ramones. So our agent there put us together with the Ramones, put us on a tour with them for a couple of weeks, and that was a blast. That was a lot of fun. So. All right, boy, I digress there. What the hell? Where was I?
We, we,
What were we talking about?
well, we were talking about
I gave up
Pat.
a career in tavern ownership to be in this band. Go ahead.
And that's interesting because wasn't your dad and the family originally from Austria?
No, they're from Hungary, and which short bit of history. The Soviets came in and after World War II and stayed in all those countries. And by 1956, there was a small revolution, lasted about a month. Russians came in with tanks and they had like guns and rocks and shit. So my parents, they weren't married yet. They were, dating, and my dad was 18, 19. Yeah, and my mom was 18. So they escaped over to Austria, and they were in a immigration camp. And then they got married, had me 9 months later, and then about a year after that, we were able to come to the United States. Now, I got to say, I mean, we had an aunt here, my dad's aunt, actually, my grandmother's sister, was born here and lived here, and she didn't want to sponsor us. It was like, stay there. Do you think money grows on trees in America? Blah blah blah. They kind of didn't want us here.
By the
Um,
1950s, America's starting to do a lot better. We're already out of the Depression, and things are starting to actually happen in the country.
Yeah, and my parents wanted to be in a free country, and so and we had relatives here, and my mother had relatives here too, so we ended up in New Jersey because that's where they lived.
Okay, so you're in New Jersey and you're playing in the Smithereens. And what was the original name of the band, the Smithereens, or did you have
Yeah.
something? It was, and how'd you come up with that? Because it's kind of like an odd name for a band.
I didn't think it was odd at the time. Dennis, our drummer, had a notebook, a little notebook filled with like 100 names, and that one stuck out. He got that from the Bugs Bunny cartoons, Yosemite
Uh,
Sam. I'll
uh,
I'll blow you varmints to smithereens, and it just sounded like a band. And we're like, wait a minute, has nobody taken that already? And so it was available, and we took it.
okay, so you guys are playing around, and you're I guess you're playing some covers, you're doing some stuff. You know, h- how do you get signed, man? And then when you do get signed, what's it? I mean, first out of the box, Blood and Roses, and we're gonna go down the albums, but like, how do you go from being in New Jersey, four guys? Okay. And at the time, you guys all, you kind of looked a little bit like the Ramones. I remember you guys used to wear the leather jackets and everything. You were wearing black pants. But how did they
Yeah.
pick you guys to sign you? Was it the songwriting? Was it the look? What was it? How'd you were you on a showcase?
Definitely wasn't the look because we were like the ugliest band out there. Um, we sent our tapes to cassette tapes to every label, independent, major, all the labels, like whatever, how many there were at the time, 30 labels, and we got rejected by all of them. And we'd almost given up. We have some reject a lot of all the rejection letters somewhere, and we sent one to this new label called Enigma out of I think El Segundo, California. Now we had an independent record out in 1983 called Beauty and Sadness. It was reviewed by Kurt Loder in Rolling Stone. It got 3.5 stars, and we thought, oh man, this will be a cinch, you know.
What kind of
It was
shows were you playing?
just bars and clubs, either opening for people or I remember opening for Blue Angel, which had Cyndi Lauper in
Right,
it at the
right.
time. And we opened for Robert Gordon.
With like Stone Pony?
Yeah, actually, Asbury Lane. It was called Asbury Lanes back then. Yeah. And
Very quaint, but now it's all beautiful and gorgeous, and the trash are coming in there and taking it over and charging $26 for a Miller Lite.
ah,
Get me started.
yeah. So anyway, it was there. We opened for some people, and Stone Pony. We opened for Lord Gunner. He liked us, and we played with him every Thursday night for $25 for the whole band.
Holy shit.
Um, my bar tab was bigger than that because they weren't giving us free drinks back then. Um, so yeah, that's how we started. So this label Enigma in California,
They're associated with, I think, Capital, right?
not yet.
No,
No,
but was I thought because my first job out
later
of
on.
yeah, my first job out of college was I worked for a label. I worked for CBS and all the associated labels. So was Enigma like kind of they kind of like a spin-off of Capital?
No, no, no.
No, they
They were
weren't.
totally independent
Okay,
when
gotcha.
when we had met them, and they got their distribution around the time when our album came out, and
Oh, so
some
you
other.
were so you guys because they wound up doing pretty good. So you guys must have really helped them out because that first album, especially for you, really took off.
Yeah, without Capitol's help, though, they really didn't do anything to help us. I mean, Blood and Roses should have been a proper single, and it never was. It all happened slowly within 18 months, and So anyway, we had sent this tape to. There was a guy working there who was a college DJ, and he was now weeding through all the cassettes, and he recognized our name out of like a box of like 100 cassettes because he heard Beauty and Sadness, our independent record back in, because a couple of colleges played our record back then in '83, and it had the Rolling Stone review and whatnot. So he listened to the tape and he liked it. So he signed us without seeing us or
Oh my
anything.
God, what
And
a break! That doesn't happen very often.
no, it was a fluke. It was a total fluke, and we had already recorded half the album, especially for you, on our own at the record plant. So all those record labels, they rejected Blood and Roses and Behind the Wall of Sleep and Alone at Midnight and whatever the 6 songs we did. So then they gave us like an extra $5,000 or whatever, and to record the other half of the album, and recruited Don Dixon uh, to
You produced it.
to produce it. Yeah. So it was easy for him. Well, I don't know. I should say easy, but we only had to record half the album and then mix up the other six, and then we had an album. And
Okay,
then
so
it was a slow takeoff. It was because they Enigma had a partnership with Canon Films and had this movie come out called Dangerously Close, this vigilante kind of movie, and they used Blood and Roses in the credits and in the movie. So they paid for the first video, and it got onto MTV because NEW in New York was playing it, Scott Muni and all those guys, and then they were the leaders in the country. So all the other stations in the country kind of followed NEW, and that's how we got national airplay. And then that's how it all snowballed. But that first tour was 18 months. We crisscrossed the country like 5 or 6 times.
Well, let's talk about the record first, okay? Let's talk about a special for you. And we're going to go down through a couple of different records. So let's start with Blood and Roses. My God, I mean, for that to be the first time, that's the first time I heard you guys. And from the opening notes, that bass line is just insane. It's a hook. It's great. You guys were totally made for FM radio. Um, how was the song written? Did the lyrics of that come first, or was it the bass line, and then you wrote the song around the bass line?
Um, the bass, Pat actually came up with the bass line. It's one of the only ones because Mike does all his own bass lines, but that particular one, he said he thought about it in his head while he was walking in the city, and it was his pace, walking, that he just had it stuck in his head.
Mhm.
And the lyrics he got from some Japanese author or poet named Mishimo or something like that. And that's where he got the idea of it. And it's basically a song about suicide, which is weird. But so Pat wrote the lyrics, and then we did all the music for it.
And you play a
And
great lead in it.
that actually, I part half of that I came up with in the 70s, like before I even met Pat, and I just threw it into the song
And
because
that's
it
why you never
fit.
throw anything out, right? Because
Now it's all in
it's,
my
it,
head.
well, it's like a comedian. Like you'll write a joke, you'll write something, and you may not be able to do it now. 2, 3 years from now, all of a sudden, hey, I know where I can put this in my set. Let's talk about
Yeah.
another song on the album, "Behind the Walls of Sleep." Um, a fantastic song, probably my favorite. Um, there were rumors that that song was actually written about Tina Weymouth from the Talking Heads. Did you ever hear that?
I heard a lot of female bass player. Yeah, but it wasn't. It was an independent band called the Bristols out of Boston, and we had opened for somebody there, and they were on the bill too. And Pat was just intrigued by the way she looked, and she held her bass up like Bill Wyman. So he wrote that whole song around her, and it's just all fabricated, and it was really cool. And the music was just great. We really rocked the hell out of that, you
Oh
know.
my God. Anytime you guys
Yeah,
do that live, that is like a showstopper.
yeah, I like opening with it because
Yeah.
it's a good opener.
100%, 100%. Another song I like off the album was "Strangers When We Meet." I kind of feel like that song, you were influenced by another band. You want to tell us who you were influenced by?
There's probably a little Beach Boys in that.
That's what I was
Uh,
thinking.
and it's just a very 60s sounding song. Now we thought that was going to be the first single, and we had no idea. But we put Blood and Roses like hidden on the second side, the third or fourth song or whatever. So we had no idea that people would like that song. No idea whatsoever. And the only reason it got, because of that movie and the video that the movie company made for it. It's just like uncanny. We never thought of it as a single. So Strangers When We Meet would have been what we thought the first single.
So, like with comedy, right? You put out an album and you had your whole career to write it.
Yeah.
Okay. The hardest part is now coming up with the second one, which Sean's about to do. He's about to do his his second taping. Um, how about for you guys, coming up with Green Thoughts? You're on tour, like you just said, for 18 months.
Yeah.
You finally got the album out. Did you have to, I'm sure the record company's like, hey, look, you guys are doing great. You got a little bit of heat here, time to put out another record. Was it
Yeah.
hard writing the second one?
I thought it came very easily, and there were piecemeals going on during the first tour, like in on the tour bus or in the hotel room, just coming up with pieces of stuff. I remember coming up with the opening to Only a Memory in Spain. We were on the first tour, and during sound check, it just happened. It's like, hey, that's a cool riff. We'll use that. So some of it was piecemeal, and then we just got together and in a rehearsal studio in Hoboken and rehearsed there for a while until it all came together. And then it only took about 2 weeks to record, which is incredible. So
That's sick because you mentioned that song "Only a Memory." I think there were two songs off that album that I like, and then there are two songs I like. Other songs I want to talk about is I love "Only a Memory" and "Drown in My Own Tears." I think
yeah.
those were two great singles. I think were they both written during soundcheck?
No, no. I think Pat came up with the lyric. Well, actually, he didn't have lyrics to Drown in My Own Tears. If you listen closely, there's a part mimicking his lyrics in behind his lyrics going la 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 la. If you listen really closely, and I told Pat to do that because that was on the original demo. And I said, Pat, it sounds great. Put that underneath your lyrics. It'll sound really cool.
Those were two great singles, but there would I used to listen to that. Was see that record for me was like you had two cuts on it, especially the song "Especially for You." That was like
Yeah,
my dark. It was like it was a good
really.
fuck. Yeah, it was a good fucking song. It was.
Wow.
If you put it on, like there are songs that like you're gonna like have sex to that just sound cool. Like it was romantic. You could put like some candles. I thought especially for you and Green Thoughts were two like very moody, heady type songs. I love those songs. They weren't singles, and I don't even think you do them in concert.
Yeah, especially we did do both of them, and we still play, especially for you once in a while. I actually wrote the music to that. That's co-written by me and Pat. And it was started out as a joke. I think, well, I shouldn't say what we were doing, but we were doing something illegal at the time, and we were a little bit high. And I
It
said,
would have
Pat,
been
I
a
got
better
this.
story if it would have been a threesome, but go on.
Eh. Better, I don't know. Uh, so I said, Pat, listen to this. I got this cool thing, and it's when you're high, it's like sounds dreamy and everything,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
and that's where it came from. So I was showing him these because I was experimenting with jazz chords, which I can't read music, but I know that they were jazz chords. So I'm playing him this, and he says, it'd be funny if we wrote a song called "Especially for You." After our first album. So it
Exactly.
started out as a joke, and then it became serious. And then we got Steve, we were on tour with Los Lobos. And so Steve Berlin was the sax player in Los Lobos. I think he still is. We incorporated him to do the solo in that song when we recorded, and it's just beautiful. I was just sitting there listening to him play this solo, going, "Holy shit, this is so nice." Yeah. So anyway, and then the song Green Thoughts you were saying,
I love Green Thoughts. I
yeah,
think
we
it's, I
still do that. When Robin Wilson sings with us, he insists on doing that song.
it's a good one. And so now you move on. Let's go on to 11. We're not gonna go through every album, but just a couple of them. 11. 11's interesting because you had I think Don Dixon produced the first two, and
Yeah,
then okay, and they're both successful albums.
yeah.
So why make the change after the first uh two albums, and then you put out actually a good single off of that album, "A Girl Like You." I thought was really good, and "Yesterday Girl's" another one too. That's good on the album.
Yeah.
But why change
Um,
producers?
I don't know. Pat, I think, had met Ed Stasium, who engineered the Ramones records, and he was a Jersey guy. And Pat wanted to get a heavier sound and get away from because we were getting pinned as like a jangly kind of band, but in the reviews they're like, "Wow, they're a lot heavier live," but their records are, you know, not as jangly or not as heavy. So we decided to go a little heavier, and that's why Ed Stasium was picked for
Gotcha.
that.
And were you guys all big Ocean's 11 fans?
Yes. It was that and a combination of Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11, so we thought it was kind of clever,
Okay, there you go. All
Now,
right.
Yeah, it had a couple of meanings. Yeah.
at that point, was "A Girl Like You" like the biggest video hit that you guys had on MTV?
Yes, absolutely. And then we did an appearance on SNL.
Hmm.
which really took it over the top. And then I think we also did Arsenio. I don't think he liked us, and a couple other shows. It's interesting because David Letterman wanted us to be on the show, and we refused because at first they said oh, Paul Schaefer's band will play the music, and we just want Pat. And we're like, no, you can't
What?
just have.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's
And it was
insane.
really it's really it's disrespectful, totally disrespectful. I mean, I think a few years later they had REM on and they were able to play on there, but and then they said, okay, you could all come on, but the Paul Schaefer's band still has to play. And we're like, no, sorry. So, so we passed on Letterman for that reason.
I'm
You're a
glad
But
better
you.
man.
anyway,
You're a better man than I am because if somebody said we have to do this podcast without Jeff, I'd be like, listen, it was good knowing you. In a heartbeat, in a blink of an eye, I would ditch him.
So, what was it like playing on SNL? That had to be like a big milestone for you guys, right? Right? What did your father think?
huge. Um, yeah, I don't know. My dad was proud at that point. You know, he's pissed off at me for not coming out to Arizona, but after a while, he softened up. Yeah, it was definitely a career highlight. Sure, it was one of them. Yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, it still is, I suppose. I wish I
Who
had
hosted?
some Corbin Burnson from L.A. Law,
Oh, wow.
but you know, it's cool. It was a good cast. Phil Hartman
Mhm.
was on there, and John Lovitz, and it was just a great cast. It was a good show.
I mean,
I remember beating the hell out of that cassette single for that song because I was about 13 when that came out, and that was just
Wow.
yeah, it was like October '89, right? Or '90.
'89. Yeah.
I remember that.
October. Wow, you remember the month.
Well, yeah, that's a very important period of music history for me. So I always tend to go back to the music. Again, we bring this up with Billy Vera. We
Billy Vera. We had
interviewed
Billy Vera
Billy
on the
Vera
show.
from At This Moment, and he said something to me that just stuck in my brain and it has not left. And he said, the music that you love at 13 is the music you're going to listen to the rest of your life.
Sure.
It blew me away because I realize now that most of my favorite albums and songs are the stuff that came out in '89 and '90.
You know, I wonder if, like, my oldest son is 35. He like, because I was thinking about this a couple of years ago, like what are these kids are going to play at their barbecues when they got families and stuff? Are they going to be playing the what's on now? But amazingly, my son, he also likes rock and roll, like classic rock stuff, you know, 80s, 90s, whatever. I mean, he listens to current stuff too, but you know, it's just funny that you know, he likes all of it. And I think it's different now too, because when we were kids, the older generation was listening to Benny Goodman and stuff like that, and that really never made it to, you know,
Well,
to me.
I think it's a testament too that of that era of music that the music was just really that good
Yeah,
that
it's
it
timeless.
carries over 30, 40 years later as well. I mean, you're not listen, if you have grandkids when they're 40, they're not going to be listening to like, Little Jeezy, like you said, or these stupid rap artists who have, you can't name one song, but chances are they're going to hear Sweet Child of Mine or Living on a Prayer or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Um, yeah. So there you go.
I just went Friday night to see Billy Joel. Last Sunday, I went to go see Barry Manilow. And the age group was a lot younger than I thought it was really going to be for
Yeah,
both shows. Younger, a little bit more diverse. I think this generation gets a lot of their music from either video games or they hear it in movies or it's
yeah.
referenced somewhere and they realize, man, these are really good songs and it kind of sticks with them. So I don't think a lot of this music is ever really going to go away. I think what's going to happen is like as some of these bands start to get older and like say the next 10 years they're not going to be around anymore. I think what you're starting to see now in the music business is the emergence of these tribute bands playing
Yeah.
like big venues. Like there's I think a Queen tribute band
Almost.
that's about to do Red Rocks out in Colorado. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they're getting they're doing great business, and they're able to kind of like put together like a show with lasers and stuff, like something the original artists would do.
Sure.
So and people like they don't care who's in the band, they just want to hear the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're pulling in a lot of dough too.
Oh,
Oh, sure.
absolutely. But the nice thing they're doing, they're reinvesting it back into the production. I wanted to talk about one more album. Uh, Blow Up, okay?
Hmm.
Because now the band had some success with Top of the Pops, Too Much Passion. Um, you're putting out these records. Are you putting them out because you're putting them out, or you're putting them out because hey, the record, you've just had three albums do very well. Is the record company telling you, hey, Jim, Pat, you guys got to keep writing songs because you got to keep making us money?
Yeah, at that point, Capitol had, they were demanding another girl like you, and that was a downfall right there. So Pat came up with Top of the Pops, same key and tempo and whatnot, and then grunge came out at the same time, so it was a bad time for that album. But you know, a lot of people still love that album, and there's still a lot of good songs on it. But at the time, it just didn't fit in with what was going on with the grunge scene. And I remember telling Pat, like, we should get back to our roots and play heavier, like we did on, early on. And Pat had strings and all this kind of other. Pat had a certain direction in mind, but that's what happened with that.
Was he the
I
leader?
actually thought, what?
I was say, was he the leader of the band, or what did
Yeah,
you
pretty
guys do?
much. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so was it really
I mean,
like
it was a democracy, sure. But and I thought our career was over. I had a day job for like 20 years that I
you were
kept.
in banking, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I worked in a cubicle. I didn't know any. I don't know anything about banking, but it was at a bank. It was at a corporate bank, but I was just an office worker, and I. Yeah, so it's amazing that I still have a career because it all comes back. People are coming back now, and I was talking to some bare naked ladies about this, about how it's amazing that we're still able to play. People still come to see us, because there's the ups and downs of this business, and boy, was it down. After grunge, I thought it was over, you
Well,
know.
look what happened to the metal bands. Bands like Judas Priest. They would talk about. I think if you read it like in Halford's book, he was saying like almost overnight, like they were playing like 18,000 seat arenas, and then within really like 4 to 6 months, you're down to playing like 2,000, 4,000 seat venues. I mean, just that quickly, and all these bands just went away, like the Warrants and the Rats. All these bands were just done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Well, I
cycle.
think it needed. I think it needed to come to an end too. I mean, there's always trends like
Agreed. Sure.
regular rock and regular straight up rock and roll, which is kind of like where I identify with the Smithereens. It's a really fucking just basic rock and I don't mean basic in a bad way, but I'm just saying like
Yeah,
a good fucking rock band. That's always going to be around. But when you have the trends that come along, and it happens in every kind of genre too. It's happening in country right now too. People say this isn't even really country music anymore because it's like this pop rock country, but it's all a big trend. So
yeah.
the stable music will always carry over at that point, but then the fads will always come in, take over for a little bit, and then the next one comes in.
What
We
about
realized that very early on. That's why we never jumped on any trends, because when we first started playing, it was all about synthesizers and long hair and whatever it was. We just didn't want to. We wanted to play the music that we liked, that we enjoyed, and we stuck with it. Which is why I'm surprised that we even got played on the radio back in '86. I can't believe, along with Madonna and Michael Jackson and all that stuff. Blood and
but if you
Roses
but if you look at
stuck
that
out.
if you look at those charts in the 80s, okay, and people talk about diversity now, you could have had Cyndi Lauper, you could have had Prince, Michael Jackson, you could have had Guns N' Roses. I mean, you had real diversity in music there. Whitney Houston, okay, but your music was, I thought, perfect for FM radio. The songs were anywhere from 3 to like 4.5 minutes. Okay, they were catchy as all heck. They were great. I mean, you guys are not overproduced. I think the songs are timeless. You're a classic four-piece band.
Yeah, and that's the way we're going to stay.
Yeah,
Do you consider yourself a Jersey band?
good question.
That's a weird question. I never thought we really fit into that. I don't know. I mean, I think of, Asbury Jukes, and Springsteen and all that. Bon Jovi, I guess, maybe because they're popular, but I don't know. We made our bones playing in New Brunswick and Asbury Park, but mainly in New Brunswick at the Court Tavern, and mainly Kenny's Castaways in the Village.
You
That's
played the
that.
last show there, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, they invited us to play the last night they were open. So that's where we made our bones. That was our cavern club, like or whatever for the Beatles. That's where we played 3 sets a night. The Court Tavern in New Brunswick.
Great
Yeah.
place.
So we weren't really part of the shore scene, and I we are a Jersey band. I actually was a little pissed when Bon Jovi came out with the album New Jersey, because I thought, that should have been us with the title of an album. But anyway, we were always proud of being New Jersey band. We talked about it in interviews all the time on the road, because people thought we were from California. Like, no, we're not from California. Our label's from California, but we're not.
Sean, I didn't think they ever gave off a California vibe.
No, not at all. And I think the first reason why I ever listened to A Girl Like You was because I had heard that they were from New Jersey. So I had that little connection. And that just always stuck in my brain for the last 25 years, 35 years at this point. So that's
Yeah,
why I wanted to mention that. I mean, just people don't give this area the credit that it really deserves, because there's some amazing, amazing music that comes out. I'm from Jersey too, so it's
yeah.
very, very different. I mean, did you did you get any sort of inspiration from like Springsteen or Southside Johnny, or was that really not in your wheelhouse?
Not really.
No.
No, no, it's totally different kinds of music. I mean, well, South,
Obviously, no
and
horns.
I love no horns. I love them all, and I think Southside, came from more like well, I don't know, like yeah, I love
Well,
Sam
Southside
Cooke
is
and all.
almost, I'm sorry, but I'd say Southside is almost kind of like you can tell he's really influenced, I think, by Motown, and like an R&B. During his sets he'll do tributes to like I'm not Al Jolson. Who's that?
Al Jolson.
Not all. I'm
That's
no.
funny.
You know why I want to go solo now, Jim? Do you have any idea
I'm
why?
trying to, I'm getting old. I'm trying to remember. He would do like a tribute to like Motown artists in his set. Springsteen will do it. I never saw the comparison between the Smithereens and like those Jersey Shore type bands. I see more of a connection between you guys and Bon Jovi because you're both like rock and roll bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they're much more polished and whatnot. And and we didn't have a great looking lead singer, you know,
No, but
with
Pat,
nice golden locks of hair.
true, but Pat was a great singer. And he seemed like such a sweet guy. He passes away in 2016, and right, so it's kind of like, do you feel like this is it? It's over for you? Like now, maybe you'll be like, what's next?
Wow, it's a tough question. 'Cause I, you know, like I told Dennis, our drummer, I said, if I pass away, I mean, keep going, just keep going, because people want to hear the songs, like you said about the tribute bands. People want to hear the songs, and it's good that there's a couple of original members in the band that helps sometimes. But it's in my blood, we can't stop playing. I'd be playing it to some capacity, but what I know how to play best is what I've written and what I played on records. So naturally, I'm going to want to keep doing that. And I was surprised when we did that tribute to Pat at Red Bank, and I said, why don't we just get everybody we know to come and sing a song or two? And that's how, and then Robin Wilson from Gin Blossoms came, and after the set, him and Marshall both said, and a couple of them said, if you guys want to do some more shows down the line, I'm free. I'm available. I'd love to do it, you know. So that's how that all happened. And we're thinking like, you know what? This is good. We can keep playing and keep doing our passion. It's our passion to play. This is what I do. If I didn't do that, what the fuck would I be doing? You know? And
All right,
I
so you got I've seen you with both incarnations with Marshall, with Robin Wilson. Um,
yeah.
how different is it playing with those two guys? Because I got to tell you, seeing the two of them, it's in my opinion, it's a very different sound.
Yeah, it is. Well, it just is what it is. They both bring something different to it. We're doing a show in Ohio in June where neither of them are available. So John Cowsill from the band The Cowsills is going to sing lead on that. It'll be the first time, and it's a festival show out there. So, you know, and there are other people that want to sing also, and we'll see how it goes.
Who else wants to sing with you guys?
Well, I can't really say right now, but
Okay.
I shouldn't say because they might not end up singing with us, and then
We're trying to get an exclusive here, Jim.
a scoop. Okay.
Yeah. Um, no, but I think both incarnations are really, really cool. I love Robin with the band, and the thing is, all you guys. So I go see the Smithereens, and you were with I think Mark Farmer over at the St. George
Oh,
Theater, which
yeah,
was
yeah.
which was a really good show. Okay, show ends. This is how much non a rock star the Smithereens are. Good night. Jim doesn't go backstage. He walks off the steps of the stage, walks through the arena, goes out to the lobby, and starts signing autographs and meeting people.
That's supposed to
Do you
do.
remember doing that?
I was looking for pizza. I don't know.
You how active are you with writing new stuff?
Very.
Yeah.
I'm working on stuff. I recorded some demos with Dennis, and it's going to be interesting because some of I'm gonna give to Robin and some to Marshall too, and they have some partial. I have a lot of full lyrics, but I'm going to allow them to massage the lyrics how they want and to fit their style. So it should be interesting to see brand new songs with them singing.
Yeah, it was the reason I was asking is because I mean, before I was a comedian, I was in a band, so I know the relationship that you can have with your bandmates as far as writing music. I personally, I don't think I could write with anybody else. Comedy wise, if Jeff said to me, "Hey, I need to punch up this bit," I would sit with him in a heartbeat and write it. But when it comes to music, I'm too connected with my guitar player to write with anybody else.
Uh-huh.
Wondering how you felt about like um continuing on and without having Pat's influence with it. Like, do you feel that it's a different kind of vibe writing without him, or did you do
Yeah.
writing like like individually, or like
No, we wrote individually, but like if I had a song idea, Pat didn't want to sit in a room with me eye to eye and work it out. He said, "Okay, give me the demo and I'll work on the lyrics myself at my own pace." And that's how Marshall is. He doesn't want to sit in a room. Now, Robin, on the other hand, I'll sit with him and we'll flush it out. So everybody works in a different way.
yeah.
And and then Mike comes up with his own parts, Dennis comes up with his own parts, and it becomes it'll still be the Smithereens sound because you still have the three guys that played on the records, but the voice will be different. There's no way around that.
Do you see
And
yourself writing any kind of like tribute to Pat in a song?
I tried that. I put it aside. I didn't like the way it came out.
Reason I
It's just
said that is because
it's too corny. It's too corny.
there was a Springsteen song that came out, I think about a year or two ago. It's called Ghosts, and he wrote it about Danny Federici and Clarence.
Right. I know
And
that one.
and I just it hit me really, really hard. because like my guitar player is still my best friend in the world. Like we send each other horrific memes every single day and try to, we're gonna carpool to hell together is the ongoing joke. But like
Hmm.
I thought about it and like saying to myself, like I put myself in that situation. I put myself into Springsteen's head when he wrote that song, saying like, I don't know what I would be like with it if this guy wasn't here.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like what he went through losing the two guys in his band within the course of a few years that were like with him for 40 years. So I just thought it was I thought it'd be an interesting thing to see how it would come about if you did write something about the contribution or about the friendship or anything like that.
Yeah, I had one that I kind of put aside, and I have another one which I'm not sure of yet. I will. It's finished. I just have to record it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It just has to be right. It can't
Yeah,
be
it can't be
corny.
can't be formulaic and like, okay, our singer passed away, we have to write a song about him. It's
No,
gotta
no, no, no. It has to come
come from
from the
the heart.
heart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I have an idea for you, Jim.
What's that? I
I
can't
think
wait.
no, I think what you should do is I think you should do like every breath you take, but then you should like put your own lyrics over it, you know? And then
No, I can't.
yeah, and then wind up paying Sting $1 million a year for the rest of his life.
No, I don't want to pay anything to Sting.
Uh, you know that's what happened with Puff Daddy, right? When he
No,
oh so yeah,
And look where it
I was
and look
hoping you
where
were
it
gonna
got
catch
him.
yeah, I was hoping you were gonna catch that reference. Yeah. So when Biggie dies, he has to put out a tribute record. So he takes exactly. It doesn't change anything. Every breath you take, raps over it, new song. It's my song. Okay.
oh,
He gets sued, and the settlement he pays $1 million a year for the rest of his Sting's life.
Hey,
wow.
you can write a song called A Guy Like Him and just change the lyrics to it.
Okay, so the name of this show, okay, we're 51 minutes into this. Okay, the name of the show is called Who's Your Band? And we never got a chance to ask Jim who his band is. So, who is your favorite band, your favorite artist? Okay, it doesn't have to be someone who influenced you, but just someone like when you're not listening to Smithereens records, who do you like listening to? Who's your favorite group?
I can't just name one. I mean, how is that even possible?
It's
So,
possible.
so the internet crashes and you're only allowed to bring CDs from five artists. Who do you
Oh man,
Jim's gonna go. I got everything on vinyl.
I do.
find? So do
I figured you would. You're from
And
our
CD
generation.
and CD and the iPod. I got
Okay.
all of it, but I do prefer vinyl. I never gave up my vinyl. I have thousands of fucking albums. I don't know, man. I mean, shit. That's tough. That's really tough.
We're gonna
Because
let you. You don't have to name one, but you got to name at least three. Just give us three bands.
and you can't say your own.
You can't say your own.
I um no, it's tough because I go through phases. Like I bought the Who's Next deluxe set, right? And it's got like 8 CDs in it of live shows they did at that time, and listening to it in the car because I still have a CD player in the car, and I love it. I love the Who, but I go through phases where I won't listen to the Beatles or the Who or the Kinks or some of my favorite bands. There are three right there, but I'll go through periods of months without listening to them, and then listen to Tame Impala. I like this new band, and Rival Sons, another newer band. But
Great band.
favorite, what?
I think they're a great band. I think to me they're Aerosmith.
Rival Sons?
Yeah, that's who they remind me of.
Really?
Yeah,
So, but I do listen to, stuff out there. And favorite, I mean, fuck. I mean, the Beatles will always probably be my favorite because that's what I started. That was my first band that I bought their albums and tried to emulate on guitar. So, probably the Beatles and the Who. Um, I would have to say, I guess. But then again, I go through phases where I can't listen to them for a while, you know, and then it'll come back and it'll be fresh again,
I,
So
I that. I get that. Once in a while, I'll put on a Guns N' Roses record that I haven't played in forever, and I'll pick up something that I never heard before, like even
Yeah.
like like a rhythm riff that I never thought Izzy Stradlin, I never heard it in 35 years, and I'll pick it up, and or a drum fill that Matt Sorum did on Illusion 2 or something like that. I understand that.
Yeah, I
Also,
love those little things,
Jim, did you notice the drum head behind me right there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't
Uh,
there the last
where
episode, just so you know, Jim. He put that up there just this time. I want you
That's
to.
not true. I always have I love that piece. You know, and who's right behind but below you? There is the Ramones.
I see you got a Ramones drum head. Look at that.
Yes, signed by
Who
the original band.
who's what baseballs do you have there?
Oh, this over here is my favorite baseball player of all time, Tom Seaver.
Hmm.
Uh, and this is a Hall of Fame ball. This is like about 20 some odd players who are in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, Jeff, when you
Great.
die, can I have that
Cool.
Ramones drumhead?
How
You
did
can
you
have
get that?
the Ramones drumhead. I
Yeah.
did. Okay, so I was headlining a show for autism, and I wasn't going to accept the money to do it. I just want, but they were like, we insist that you take the money, and at the same time, they were having a silent auction. So I said, like, I'm not going to take the money, but what I'll do is I'll bid on the
Yeah.
piece, and I wound up getting the bid. I was going to get it no matter what. I loved it. I thought it looked great. It was framed and everything. It had the certificate of authenticity, so I was very happy to get that.
When we toured with them, I didn't have the thought to even take pictures with them or get their autographs for anything. It was just, we hung out with Joey, had pizza and beer with him, and we had a good time. So all I have really is memories
But
of,
sometimes that's better because you know what? That's all yours.
yeah, yeah. But
You
yeah,
didn't go out and buy an autograph.
Well, you know what? I don't think we do that because I've never brought this up on the show, Jim, but I was in this movie called The Irishman, okay, directed by Martin Scorsese. All right.
yeah,
I never took a picture with him. I never got an autograph with Scorsese. I didn't take a picture or take an autograph with Pacino. I hung out, we talked. Same thing with De Niro. It just didn't cross my mind to do something like that.
yeah. I know I did a lot of that. It's amazing. People ask me, who have you met? And I'm like, start going down the list, and it sounds like, holy shit, you making this up or what? But
I think it blurs the line of being from artist to fan too.
Yes.
Because like we can work with some major comics. I'm never going to take a picture with any of them. I'm never.
yeah,
I don't want to come off like I'm some sort of amateur. I want them to see me as an equal, as a peer, as one of them too. So I kind of understand why you don't have the pictures like that, though. But you have people like Jeff who buy autographs, which is a good thing too.
By order. What are you talking about?
it's no, it's I
Well,
I
that
know what
that
he's
that was that's more of a donation than anything else.
yeah, yeah.
No.
So I run into Bruce
You see what I got to
Springsteen.
deal with, Jim? You see?
I
It's
know. I'm
not
in the
easy.
air. It was Continental at the time. I'm in the lounge because I had the lounge access, and I had like an hour and a half. And in walks Bruce Springsteen. And now the bartender there knew me at the lounge, of course, because I used to come early and just have a few drinks before I got on the plane. So I say hello to Bruce, and he goes, "Oh, sit down with me." And he had an hour and a half to kill. I had an hour and a half to kill. I could see on the peripheral he had people watching and keeping people away for pictures and autographs and stuff. So we sat there for an hour and a half talking about our kids and this and that. Not too much music, but I was really surprised that he knew us and knew our. He asked me about Pat and his weight at the time, and he was telling me about Big Man, how he tried to get him on a diet and whatnot. So we're talking, and at the end of this, um, I said, "Hey Bruce, can I take a photo with you?" And his wife Patty was there. I had Patty take my cell phone and take a picture of him. He's standing there, and he puts on his sunglasses, and I go. She takes a picture, and I'm like, after that, I go, "Hey, Bruce, can we take one without the sunglasses?" And I'm like, So anyway, that's my story. I had a really nice time with him, and then you know, he was the rock star, I guess, you know,
Yeah, he's the
and
one that I would definitely I would punch an old lady in the face to get the picture with Springsteen. Actually,
But
I'm
like
actually
you,
glad it's summer is starting, so I'm going to be going every single night to the Tasty Freeze in Freehold on the corner of 33 and Route 9 because I know that he goes there for ice cream all the time. So I'm going to be stalking there every single night for about 2 hours, hoping to get the picture.
you
so
might see me there because I live you know, about 3 miles from there.
I'm not far from you. I am not far from you at all.
he was very great. So I used to work with with Thrill Hill Productions. Okay, and I would do the tour when he was not touring or he was in the city. He would stay at this particular hotel. I won't say it on the podcast. And me and this other guy, we would go and meet him and the family at the hotel. And when Patty and the kids and his mother-in-law would go out, we went with them. And like you said, so someone to just in case anyone bothered them, we would be kept them away. So if they were in the store, we'd be like, down the aisle and just keeping an eye on the whole time. But when we would go to the hotel, they would be in the room and Bruce would come out because he guess he wanted to get away from that whole scene. And he would just hang out and talk with me and this guy, John Rosetnik, who was with him. And he was like a regular down to earth guy. We talked a little baseball. We talked, just what was going on at the time. Just very cool dude.
Yeah,
Um,
he was very easy to talk to.
so before we wrap this up, I'm going to let Sean ask the last question. It's a question we ask all our guests. Okay. And before I do that, I'm just going to thank you so much for coming on. I've been a big fan of the band for so many years. And like I met you down at French's with Steve Trevelise, and we shared a
Oh yeah.
whiskey. And it was like, you and Cindy are just really, just very gracious hosts. So
Oh, thanks.
I just wanted to thank you for that. And you've always been like a gentleman anytime I've run into you. So thank you so much. Sean, take it away. What's the last question here?
You can pick your own band and you can't, I'd rather you not pick anybody in your band. Who is your ideal band that you would play in? You pick the drummer, you pick another guitar player, bassist, singer. What's your dream band that you would put together?
Well, there's two ways to look at it: realistically or like unrealistically, like dead
Unrealistic.
people.
Unrealistic.
Totally unrealistic.
It's a
You can,
fantasy draft of bands.
yeah, it's like a fantasy drift, or if you could replace one person in it, like if you can step into a band and take over as a guitar player, who would that be?
Well, before I answer that question, I had a dream when I was in eighth grade that the Beatles were playing in my grade school in the auditorium, and I was playing with them. And when I woke up, the song that they were playing didn't exist. And I've been searching for that song.
Oh, wow.
It's really weird. Anyway, that reminded me of that. Okay, so get back to this question. I have no freaking idea because I love Dennis and Mike so much. I wow.
Take the
How about
emotion out of it. Just take the emotion out of it.
start with a keyboard player? That might be easier.
Keyboard? I don't know if I want a keyboard player.
Okay, you're going to be a you're going to be a five piece. You're going to have a guitarist, rhythm guitarist, bass player,
I wouldn't
drummer,
I
and a
wouldn't
singer.
yeah, I wouldn't want another guitarist. I'd want to be a three-piece like the Who. I would want a good solid bass player, kind of like a John Entwistle type that could just play the shit out of the bass. And drummer, um, holy shit, I'd like to be in the Who. No, I don't know. um, shit, I need a drummer. Um, Ringo.
Oh wow.
I love Ringo's playing. I love he's solid. I mean, a lot of people put him down. Oh, like um, but he's great. He's a great drummer.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
You
Ringo.
know what I like in Ringo too? I like in Ringo to the 92 Olympic USA basketball team because you get outshined by Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. But Charles Barkley was a goddamn good basketball player too.
That's
You know what
the
I mean? When you
dumbest analogy I've ever heard.
think about
That
it.
is so, that is awful.
Well, I'm gonna try.
That,
Have a good show.
That's why you guys are good friends.
Don't
I love
remind me,
Sean. There's
please.
nothing I wouldn't do for him. Um, I'm not gonna. I'll take that back afterwards.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, that's
Okay,
a fucked up band. John Entwistle, me, and Ringo. I don't
yeah,
know,
you
man.
need a guitar player. You're not the guitar player.
I'm not the guitar player.
No,
What the hell
Who's
would I
singing?
do?
Who's
he's
singing?
okay. You know what? You could be the guitar player, but you need a singer.
Right, a singer. Wow, Entwistle and
Ringo and you.
Ringo, Ringo, me, and
This is a
Fine, I'll do it.
fuck.
this is a pretty bluesy band already. I got the singer for you if you need help.
Well, what's your idea?
I think Paul Rogers.
Yeah, pretty good choice. Pretty good choice. Although I played opened up for him once, and it wasn't really didn't go well with his road manager.
Uh,
So I kind of hold it against him. Um,
all right, so screw Paul Rogers. We'll get him out of there.
it was funny. I'm like, I'm signing autographs at the side of the stage, and they're not even getting ready to go on yet, and their tour manager is like pushing me aside. Like, I'm like, dude, wouldn't he treat me like some kind of I don't know what? Like, anyway, so singer. There's a lot of great singers out there. I uh fuck, fuck. This is terrible. I'm not prepared to answer this
I'll give you
kind of.
another one. It's a little weird, a little out of the box.
Yeah,
Okay. How about Ian Gillan?
the cult.
No, that's Ian Astbury. Ian Gillan, Deep Purple.
Oh, nah, I really don't know much Deep Purple stuff except Hush, and I never knew their later stuff. I just a single when I was a kid.
Hush, I don't even think that's Ian Gillan. I don't know if he's even in the band at that
Oh,
point.
he might not have been in the band then.
Yeah. But he sang like I think his voice sounds great on songs like Perfect Strangers, Knocking at Your Back Door.
You know what? I'm not familiar with Deep Purple, the except for those early singles. Um,
Sean,
shit,
any suggestions here? We got to get him a singer.
I I need a singer.
How about
Yeah.
Michael McDonald?
I'll wrap this up. Pat Denizio is singing for him. There we go. How about that? We'll pick Pat.
Okay, I'll
I
take
love his
that.
voice. That's the reason why I said that. I just love his voice.
Well, yeah, the very unique voice. I like Tom Petty too. Um, nice guy too. Yeah, Tom Petty. Let's
Okay.
say Tom Petty.
Now
Work.
that's a cool band.
Yeah, I can rock that.
Tom Petty, Jim, Johnny and Twistle, and Ringo.
Yeah.
That's the next Asia.
Christ.
Asia, the original supergroup. Although people forget about Cream. Okay.
Blind
Anyway,
Faith and yeah,
fine.
Cream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, hey Jim, thank you so much
This
for
was
doing
fun.
this. We
My
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Okay. Anything you want to plug? Anything you guys got shows coming up? Any people go to go to the Smithereens website. It's a great website, by the way.
Oh,
You,
thanks.
the merch is pretty cool. You're not banging anybody out. I mean, there's some good stuff on there.
Yeah, we try to keep the prices low and stuff. I'm the one that actually sends the merch out from my basement. My basement is my Amazon warehouse. So we're playing in Long Island somewhere on May 23rd. Hopefully I'll be ready by then.
Are you doing
And
the
May
Wilmot?
20
No, what's the place out in Long Island?
Paramount.
Paramount,
I don't know.
Capital.
I'd have to look at the website. But anyway, the Wonder Bar on the 25th, Memorial Day weekend in Asbury.
That
Let's
should be a
go,
great
Jeff.
one.
Let's go. You come to my house, I'll drive the half hour to Asbury.
What is it? What weekend is that? Memorial Day. What day of the week are you doing
20,
it?
Yes, Saturday, I think. 25th. I'd have to Google that or something.
Hold on a second. Let me take a look.
Saturday. Saturday. I'm there.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
I'm in Pennsylvania on Saturday, and then down in down. Actually, too bad you're not playing Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to be down in New Jersey, like all the way down, like Philadelphia, New Jersey. All right.
Philadelphia, New Jersey.
So that's where I'm
funny.
going to be, all the way down, like exit
This is what
two,
I deal with. Philadelphia.
exit two down there. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show, Smithereens.
My
Awesome
pleasure.
band, and you are awesome. And everybody keep listening, keep subscribing, and keep those numbers going up. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot, Jim. See you
All right,
later,
have a good
Sean.
night.
Bye, Adam.